Hi everyone, welcome to today's Monday Rapid Fire. Looking at the structure of the market currently, nothing is really that surprising on what's going on here. It does look like a dip after the all-time high was taken, but has failed to really solidify above it. So we've had 7 green weekly candles in a row. We were saying last week that, look, it is probably on the cards that we're going to have some kind of pullback. So that was our thesis. My personal view is we are ranging between that all-time high and the 10 EMA on the weekly chart, which is down at 100,000 even. So it's a nice psychological level. I think we're going to get the slow drift down to that level, maybe a little bit lower. If we get anything with a 90 ticker on it, I think I'd be buying really, really hard. But I just think you have to keep things in context here. I wouldn't be concerned until we're really closing beneath sort of the neckline and this whole structure of Bitcoin, which is at around about 95,000. That aligns with the 200-day moving average as well. So again, if we're losing that type of moving average, if we're losing that type of structural level, then I'll get pretty concerned. Then I think the weekly bearish divergences and things like that can be talked about more seriously. But right now, my view is that this is short-term pit stop back to some really key support levels after a really strong run. We've got a lot of support beneath us, so I want to see what kind of interaction we get as we drift back towards 100,000. But even at this kind of level, we're still holding up really, really well, and we could just drift sideways, maybe drop in a little bit lower over the next few weeks. The sell in May and go away thing pops up again. Seasonality on the last day of May, we had the sell-off. It is what it is. Historically, generally, we have a bit of a choppy ranging action through June, and then put in another low in July before August, September tends to pick up, and then we have what we saw maybe last year. So again, depends on where we're at. Depends on how you feel about the 4-year cycle. I went through today and did a review for a Bitcoin top based on our 4-quadrant checklist for mastermind clients today, and I'll share with you sort of the findings, the summarized findings of that. Really, everything that we're looking at, this would be the strangest cycle if we were topping out here, because only 10% of everything that we look at is showing overheated signs. And even in that overheated sense, it's just moving towards an area where we would consider it, as a metric that would be like, okay, well, this is red. We need to start, forming a thesis around that. But 10%, really only one or two things. So I'm not really concerned here. I think this is a dip to be bought, and we go from there. So yeah, everything about this is okay. Altcoins, totally different story. They're just not ready for prime time. Very few altcoins are even outpacing Bitcoin over a 90-day period. I think it's only 11%. And we're waiting for a lot of these alts to reclaim their 200-day moving averages versus Bitcoin, or at least break out here. A lot of them are actually weakening after a period of sustained up move. So we will just have to play the ball where it lies and watch some of these charts. I'm not going to go into that today. Really interesting tweets here from Capriol. He's the Capriol dashboard inventor and also the hash ribbon inventor. I really rate what he says, but very interesting that I've always really believed that Bitcoin and gold are very much two sides of the same coin. Gold leads, Bitcoin follows. There's about a few month lag between the moves on each. And he's just pointing out, look, this is the longer picture here. He reckons we're moving much higher, about to run after gold. And I tend to agree. So I think this is just a short-term pit stop. But again, we still want to have the technicals and other things lined up as well before we, sort of say we're absolutely going up to those levels. But I think as long as M2 is expanding, these monetary units are moving higher as well. In terms of that expansion, I think we are in fine territory. And this one here was just the chart, which, look, M2 charts are being a little bit crazy at the moment in terms of speculation and how they're being overlaid on charts. It's probably one of the better ones that I've seen in terms of lag. M2 on this chart puts us at around 144,000 based on the correlation that we see between the Bitcoin price and the M2 expansion. We are having a bit of a backtick in the M2 through this period, which we could align to it perfectly. But I think just technically this is a point where Bitcoin just has a bit of a cool off. This is an area to get very interested in Bitcoin. before we start moving higher again. So, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this quick rapid fire. That's how I see it. I'm very much in the buy the dip mode here. I'm not rushing into anything. I'm not buying anything. I'm really looking in this range here for buy opportunities. If we get anything below that, it's kitchen sink time really for me. And then altcoins as well. I'm really watching here for anything with a 10, 20% move in my high conviction watch list. If any of them drop 10 to 20% in whatever happens through this next little phase, I'm going to get very interested in buying the dip on those. But apart from that, I'm waiting for a lot of these alts to really show something versus Bitcoin, and they're just not doing it yet. So, guys, hope you have a wonderful day. We'll check again soon on the altcoin Bible. Take it easy. See you later.